I want to be in your corner, giving you an outside perspective, eyes, helping you learn how to put ideas together, how to story tell, how to take my normal, everyday, average life and turn it into stories that connect, stories that resonate, sharing your perspective through storytelling or whatever format you prefer, but helping you learn how to express everything that's inside of you. All right, quick announcement before we get started. So 2 things. One, the Motherhood Decoded mini retreat. It's in person in Tampa, Friday, May 5th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Space is limited because the venue doesn't have like unlimited capacity. If you would like a ticket, be sure to DM me on Instagram or send me a Facebook message or email me so that I can get you set up and share all of the important details with you. Also, keep your eyes open on my social media because a lot of people who are not in the Tampa Bay area would really like to come, but physically can't make it here. So I'm putting together something virtual that's comparable, date to be determined. So stay tuned. I'll be sharing that as soon as it comes together. The second big announcement is the content program. It is happening right now as you're listening to this inside of the Evolutionary Business School. I'm going to talk a whole lot more about it throughout this episode. Just know that you can hop in at any time. Replays are always available. Everything goes in the portal, and there's a live support component as well. Hope to see you there, friend. Okay, if it feels like we've been talking a lot about content this month on the podcast, that's by design because I'm very much in content discussion mode as I am teaching, as of the time this episode airs, I am teaching a content program inside of the Evolutionary Business School. So for the last month or so, I've been thinking a lot about what you've been thinking about when it comes to content. What are your sticky points? What are the things that feel a little bit of a struggle right now? What do you appreciate about my content? What do you, I don't want to say admire, but in a way, what do you kind of wish that you could duplicate your own version of in your business? What are your dreams? Like one of my favorite questions on the questionnaire, the survey that I had shared last month was, if I was your content genie and you had 3 wishes, what would they be? And I love reading your answers because there's so many commonalities. It's like all of these business owners, you're all thinking very similar things, let me tell you. Okay, so having said that, I'm extracting segments of what I heard back from you and putting it on the podcast because I feel like it's helpful. There's pieces of it that will possibly end up in some form in my content program, and then pieces that will just live on the podcast as free educational, inspirational support. So that's been by design. Now, if you'd like to take the content program with me, this is happening during the month of April. It's happening inside the Evolutionary Business School. There are 4 live modules, no deadline. You can pop in whenever you like. If you miss some of the lives, just catch them on replay. Everything's in the portal, and you can come to the twice monthly small group coaching events. So that happens every month regardless. I hope that you come, you enjoy being inside of the membership, and that you stay because there's more coming in Q3, Q4. And we always do the twice monthly live small group coaching and lots of healing for you, healing for your business. There is an ongoing access to energy healing just by being in the container. So chef's kiss, I hope to see you there. Now for today's conversation, what I'd like to talk about is outsourcing your content creation. So when is the right time, if any, to outsource some of your content creation? This is something that I've seen a lot of people answer in the survey. Like one of the things that you would really like to happen is somebody to just do it for you. I get it. I really do. I look around at my life and there's a lot of areas where I feel like I just would like somebody to do this for me. And there are times when I think that it's appropriate and helpful for certain things that are not my zone of genius to allow somebody else to do for me. Like eventually I would like somebody to come in and help me with the laundry, right? It's not a zone of genius. I do it. It is what it is, but it's not like my zone of genius. So when it comes to content creation, I want to explain to you really what the options are when it comes to outsourcing your content creation, and then my perspective on when is the right time to do this. So first, let me say, when I talk about outsourcing content creation, there's a few different buckets that this could fall into. One being copywriting services. Another is like content creation services. So creating blogs, creating social media content, creating the graphics that go on social media, that kind of thing, and having somebody do that stuff for you, creating emails. And then there's also AI, so artificial intelligence. And examples that came to mind were like Chat GPT and Canva docs. So let's start with the first, which was copywriting services. That's part of content creation. So when we have content creation, in my head, it's like a creative expression. The copywriting is the language, the words that you're using. So if you look under a social media caption or under a picture on social media or a reel, the caption is the copy. When you click on a sales page, all of the writing on the sales page, that's copy. Inside of an email, in an email sequence, the writing is copy. So copywriters are folks who provide a service where they write for you. But a really great copywriter does a really great job at writing in people's voices. And I've worked with some amazing copywriters, and I really don't want to piss off the copywriters of the world in this episode, but bear with me because I think this is going to be really helpful for all of us with where we're moving in terms of business in a new era. So let's talk about Chat GPT and Canva docs. If you're not familiar, this is basically artificial intelligence. I haven't used it. I've just kind of looked at it a little bit and decided how I feel about things like this. Now, there is a body of people who feel like this is the best thing since sliced bread, that you effectively have this AI that will write complete blog posts for you. And Canva has its own version. They're not exactly the same, but Canva has its own version. It's called Docs. And I did test it out to see what it was like. And you can enter like 3 nutritious foods during pregnancy, let's say, and it will spit out 3 nutritious foods during pregnancy. And Chat GPT is a lot like that. Basically, these are artificial intelligence systems that are producing essays, blog posts, articles, and other types of publications for you, for companies. And again, there's a big group of people who are like, awesome, now I don't have to go create content. I kind of have mixed feelings about this. I feel like there is something to be said about expressing yourself with your words, with your energy, and using creative outlets. Like content creation is one of the outlets, one of the ways to express your creativity. There's something to be said about that. And the energy of your voice, so I used to hate the sound of my own voice. Over the years, I've gotten more comfortable with it. In the beginning, I was like, why would anybody want to hear my voice on a podcast for like hours at a time? But there's something to be said about the way people feel when they hear it from your mouth. And the same thing goes for writing. And what I worry about is that we might lose this really important thing that is communication. I mean, there's so many shorthands if you think about it, right? Look around how we're using the internet. This lost skill that is vital to us being human beings is communication and being able to express ourselves, being able to have conversation, being able to have your perspective, not just have a perspective, but share it and have your voice heard and then feel and hear other people's voices. This is very, very important. And my concern is like, as these, right, I have school age children, and I've seen some stuff online about certain older kids that use like Chat GPT to write their essays. And it's concerning to me because not everything that we do and we learn in grades kindergarten through 12 is very important. But I do feel like reading and writing and being able to communicate through your words is important. So this is one of those things that we just sometimes shouldn't outsource unless you're like Nike or you're selling smoothies and it's just like a very basic, right? But like when it comes to heart-centered businesses, when it comes to honestly the businesses of the future, the businesses of the new era, we have to be able to express, we have to be able to communicate our thoughts, our perspectives, and how we can help our clients. We have to be able to do that. And I want to share something because this is really profound. And it felt like one of the biggest compliments I've received in a long time. Recently, I was having a conversation with another mom at a basketball game, actually. And she said, I read some of your stuff and I felt like I could hear you speaking it when I was reading it, which is actually something I've heard a lot, but more in terms of like my business, my clients, virtual clients, not usually from people that I know in real life. And so it was like, to me, I took it as a huge compliment. And she said, I could feel you from reading what you wrote. Okay, I'm a projector. So just the fact that she sees and recognizes me, I was like, I can't even describe how amazing it feels. But then to hear her say, like, I could feel you through what you wrote, there's nothing like that. You cannot duplicate that with Chat GPT. You cannot duplicate that with any other form of AI or with outsourcing your copy to a copywriter. Now, again, a really skilled copywriter, I have worked with copywriters who can write in people's voices, and they did a great job at trying to write in my voice. For the most part, there was like very minor things that I felt like I needed to edit so that it sounded more like me, like jargon I would actually use. So for example, I had a copywriter one time that wrote killer, like this killer program. And I was like, I would not use that word. These are your isms. And copywriters are usually, especially great ones, right? And skilled copywriters are usually really good at learning what your isms are, like the phrases you use, the things that you say, the way that you describe things. Like I say as F a lot, like, oh, I am expressive as F. That's one of my isms. So I have complicated feelings about it because at the same time, I do feel like this can be a helpful technology. It's one of those things that personally I would file under the category that I've also filed templates under. You cannot template your entire business. Templates serve as a starting point. Templates are and I love templates. I have templates. I've sold templates in my business lots, and I've helped a lot of people make progress and move forward via templates. And still, at some point, it's like training wheels. At some point, they take off the training wheels. At some point, they're no longer needing the templates. That's the goal. So the goal is for them to just start having some pieces that they can start plugging in their own language, their own voice, their own copy. But there's like a certain framework that I give them to get started on things, right? So that's where I would file something like this. Like perhaps if you're experiencing creative constipation, as one of the members in the Evolutionary Business School calls it, if you're experiencing that creative constipation, you're like, just don't know what to write about. I need something to do with, let's say, pregnancy, since we mentioned that in the beginning. You could go to Chat GPT or Canva Docs or any other type of AI tool that you might use and write, what are nutritious foods during pregnancy? Let them give you some ideas and then make it your own. Okay, this gets the wheels spinning. This gets the ideas flowing. Use it as a tool to help you move forward and give you ideas to grow with and build on. Not something that you take exactly what something like that wrote and put it on your website. I don't know. I just have complicated feelings about it. And part of the reason I feel that way is because think about it like this, right? Let's say you're looking to hire somebody to do some really deep emotional healing work with you in regards to your relationship with your partner. Let's use that as an example. This is very intimate. This is very private. This is something that you really feel like the right person is very important. Now, if you land on somebody's website and social media and everything that you've read, let's say all they have is written copy, everything you've read sounds, you're like, this is my person. This person gets me. You click join or buy or invest or whatever it is, and you hire this person. And then once you get into the container, you're like, this does not feel like the person that I read their website, like the person that I read their social media posts. If that person was hiring a copywriter and the copywriter's energy is in the words, there's a disconnect. So it feels to me like I have experienced things like that. I have hired people based on things I've read. And then when I got into container with them, not necessarily for like partner support, but let's say business stuff, business is still intimate to me. Letting somebody in and letting them really be on the inside of my business supporting me, that's intimate. This is my baby. My business is one of my babies, right? So I've done that where I've purchased and invested in things. And then once I get inside, I'm like, this doesn't feel like what I read. And it doesn't feel very good. It doesn't feel good as the buyer. It doesn't feel good as the consumer. So it's very important that you think about these kind of things as we're shifting into a buyer-centered era of business, because buyers are intelligent human beings, and we deserve to be able to make decisions that are most correct for us. And are we truly making our most correct decision based on copy written by somebody else and not you as the service provider? And again, I know that the copywriters of the world are probably a little bit pissed at me right now, but I'm not saying that we don't need copywriters. I value what you do. What I'm suggesting is that if you are a heart-centered business owner, perhaps hiring a copywriter, feel into it. Is it correct for you? If you run a different type of business, if you're running, let's say, a gym and you need copy for your website, maybe a copywriter would be really helpful. Maybe copywriters would work best with companies that aren't necessarily intimate, heart-centered business and service providers, which most of the people listening to my episodes would not identify as like, okay, I own a gym and I just need to scan people's card and they come and work out and leave. That's not really the kind of people that I find myself working with. So my hunch is that if you're listening to this, maybe this applies to you. And here would be something that I would propose. Perhaps work with a copywriter that doesn't necessarily write for you. Maybe you could find a copywriter who helps you learn how to write for yourself, because where we're going, in my opinion, I mean, what I feel like is coming in the new era of how we do business is that the ability to articulate our thoughts and to articulate our perspectives and to truly connect through language and feeling of the words, that is imperative. It's imperative. And it's a skill that we just can't afford to lose. So what if instead of writing your copy for you, a copywriter guides you and supports you through flexing that muscle of learning how to write and how to communicate for yourself? Now, I'm not a copywriter, but these are the kinds of things that I'd like to do with you inside the content program. For example, I don't want to tell you what to write. I have a content toolkit for doulas that I was, selling a couple of years ago. And it was lovely. There was prompts. I like tools that help you get the ball rolling. But the point of that wasn't to be the end all for your content creation. It was to help you get started. But then I want to help you practice. I want to be in your corner, giving you an outside perspective, eyes, helping you learn how to put ideas together, how to story tell, how to take what feels like my normal, everyday, average life where I'm just raising children and turn it into stories that connect, stories that resonate, sharing your perspective through storytelling or whatever format you prefer, but helping you learn how to express everything that's inside of you, because that is a huge block that I see with so many of my clients over the years is they have all of this stuff in their head. They have ideas, perspectives, experiences, knowledge, and trainings and certifications, but communicating it to their community is a block. I'm going to claim it. Because over the years, I've also realized like this has been really helpful for my clients, helping you find content in anything you're working on. It's something that I love to do. So a lot of my private client sessions end up in like content planning on accident. It's not intentional. It just happens because they'll say like, I'm working on this thing, but how should I share it? How should I talk about it? And I can spit off this. These are all points you can talk about. I don't write their content for them because I don't believe that that's really helpful. Just like doing your kids' homework for them might not really be helpful. What are we doing when we sit down with our kids and they have homework to turn in? We're guiding them. We're helping them figure it out so that they learn how to read the book, so that they learn how to write in cursive, so that they learn their subtraction and addition and all the things. It's not helpful for me to write your content for you. Ultimately, it's helpful. You're going to need this skill. You just can't bypass it. Having said that, there is a form of content creation that I do outsource. And I'll explain to you, if you didn't hear it in one of my previous episodes, my zone of genius is creating these videos for the podcast. I like to talk, projector, and you guys know me. I like to express and I like to talk. What I don't always love is editing the video. It's just not my jam. That's not my zone of genius. I don't enjoy doing it. So I've hired a lovely gal who edits the video and she extracts pieces of the video to create Instagram reels based on the podcast. So what you'll see now on my social media a lot is repurposed material, things that I spoke, things that I said through my voice. So the quote graphics that are on my social media, though, that's language that I said. This is not somebody writing my content for me. Tish is the gal that I use. She uses my language. We have a transcript of the video so that everything that I said is written out in transcript, and we extract excerpts from the transcript and pull one-liners and put them on quote graphics, or take a segment of the video and turn it into a reel. So I do outsource content creation. In a way, I'm outsourcing the repurposing of content that I created. And I've been very intentional about that because it's important to me that you feel me. It's important to me that you hear me and you feel my voice and you hear it out of my body and with the words that I chose to describe whatever it is that we're talking about. And hearing back from that mom at basketball recently confirmed to me that it's working. You feel me. You feel me when you read my stuff that I write. A lot of people have said this, like, I'm reading it as though you're saying it. And I want that for you. I want it to be your version. I want it to sound like you when you speak your words. So one of the goals of the content program isn't for me to just give you a bunch of tools and be like, okay, here, go off and have fun. It's to help you learn how to communicate your way so that when people land on your pages and on your websites or wherever they're finding you, in person or online, that they are connecting and feeling you through your videos or through your audios, if it's on a podcast, or through whatever you write under a picture, if it's a post or a graphic, whatever. The goal is for them to really connect with you and your energy. Okay, I hope this has been super helpful for you. If you'd like to continue getting content support from me in the ways that we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, the program is open. It's all happening inside the Evolutionary Business School, and the link is in the show notes. So I hope to see you there, friend. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day and listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found value in what I'm sharing here. And if you did, can you do me a little favor and go and rate and review this episode? I will share a link in the show notes so that it's really easy to rate and review this podcast. It would mean a lot to me, as this is truly a passion project. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you next week.